Hey everyone, I've got a bit of a different video today in the way that you're not going to actually be seeing my face, well, other than that. But yeah, this video is going to be sort of a visual, kind of drawn out, kind of thing. There's really no other way to describe it other than using visual diagrams, I figured, so hope you enjoy it. So what I believed was the hardest middle school subject ever of all time, to the max times infinity plus one, was not math, not reading, not Spanish, not science, none of that, usual stuff. It's lunch. So here's a small representation of the battlefield. The main issue was that there were only 8 people allowed at a table. No exceptions. You can only have a maximum of 8. And 8 was like the max. And it was the most you could have. And you couldn't have any more than that. And this is a rather large problem, considering that the table group I usually sat with is about 10 to 12 people, so there was really no way to evenly distribute that. And even if I wanted to distribute that evenly, psychologically, people don't want to, alright? That's just the problem. First things first, there are multiple classes that get dismissed to a specific lunch. You never want to be the first class because you kind of just stand there and there's no way to really see what's coming up. And you especially do not want to be the last class to show up because by then, your table's probably filled up and you're pretty much screwed. So the first sort of tricky challenge, depending on the day, is getting to the table in the first place. You made it to the table, there's a few people who got left in the dust to sit somewhere else, and everything's great. But I tell you, this is only the first challenge. As you might know, in a table group of all your amigos, there's always the group leader who will be followed wherever he goes, and the majority will follow him. Personally, I just don't want to do that because I want to stay seated. But no, it's not that simple. Everyone else wants to move to where he is, and he is the man getting in your way. He is the man in this situation. And your job is to stick it to the man and prove that you can make it to the table and not get left behind. So the ultimate strategy comes from the move. You've got to move to the table where he's sitting at just in time. Okay, so first of all, do not run to either of these 2 seats because those are the ones that are going to fill up first because they're the closest. And you actually want to go to these seats because people usually don't think to, run that far of a distance to get there, and it usually works out. And once in a blue moon will there only be one move and you're done. Usually it's anywhere from 2 to 4 moves, just moving all over the place. I didn't really explain this before, but the way lunch worked in middle school was you sat in your group first, then you got dismissed to get your food, and then you came back to that table. You were not allowed to switch tables after this point. You were put in that table and you could not move. However, there are always the people who would cheat the system and will move after said lunch getting quest. Back more on the move. You don't always want to move immediately because sometimes they will fake you out. Like the leader will sit here, 1 or 2 unlucky souls will run away, the leader will fill in their spots, and they'll be screwed. So I guess it works out in your favor to not move sometimes. As you can see, lunch for me in middle school required many different skills like math, physical education, physics, karate, the usual. And in middle school, popularity was everything. Now I realize that is not the case. Give me a break. I mean, this was middle school.